Good morning, everyone. I can see that people are still rolling in, but I know we all have a busy day, so I'm just going to kick this off. Just so you're all aware, this webinar will be recorded and posted on our website. So if anybody gets here late, missed any slides, or just wants to revisit this in the future, it'll be on our site. I also want to point out that there is a chat feature in this presentation where you all can post any questions you have during this webinar, and then at the end, we'll run through and answer a handful of these. So appreciate you all for taking the time to join us today to go over some updates with Grace Waters and I. The intent of today is to high level go over the changes that the SBA made on August 1st in regard to their 7A loan program, as well as some credit box changes we've made to our underwriting process. We've made these changes to complement the SBA's new SOP and allow our borrowers to obtain more working capital for their business. So my name is Ian Zaleski, and I'm the lead underwriter here at Annuity. I've been here since round 2 origination for PPP, and once PPP ended, helped transition Annuity's focus toward SBA lending, specifically helped with developing the underwriting process for our 7A working capital program.
Hey everyone, my name is Grace Waters. I'm another underwriter here on our 7A team. I've worked with Annuity since December of 2020 and also have helped grow and transition to our 7A product. I'm currently working to help assist and review the 7A underwriting team. Happy to be here to help walk you guys through some of the updates to our SBA 7A loan product. And I'm going to pass it back to Ian to give us a quick overview of Annuity and why we're here today.
So most of you here are familiar with us and know Annuity already, as we worked together in some capacity in the past, whether it was PPP forgiveness, origination, or if you're currently working with us on an ERC credit or SBA 7A loan. But for the rest of you that are new, I'll just give a real quick history of who Annuity is. So Annuity started about 3 years ago to help businesses access capital. Initially, it was through PPP loans, and then about 2 years ago, we launched our 7A working capital program, and have since secured loans for hundreds of borrowers since the inception. Then at the end of 2022, we launched our ERC tax credit service to thousands of businesses. This webinar in particular will just be covering the changes to our SBA 7A loan program, but I did want to address a recurring question we've been seeing a lot in the past couple weeks for our ERC members. So some of you may know, on September 14th, the IRS issued a moratorium to halt ERC credits from being processed until December 31st, 2023, leading to the question, what happens to my application now? So if your ERC application has already been filed prior to September 14th, the IRS will still process that as usual and you'll get those credits. However, for a business that hasn't started yet the application and wants to apply, you still can apply, but then you'll need to wait until the IRS lifts that moratorium before they even begin their review. So their review usually takes between 3 to 6 months, so you'll see funding in Q2 or Q3 of 2024. However, here at Annuity, we offer an ERC fast track option for qualified businesses where we can file your ERC with the IRS today and we'll fund you in about a week. So we don't need to wait for the moratorium to be lifted. We can still get you that funding before the IRS lifts that. There's a lot more information on our website about that. I just wanted to touch on that because that's a question we're receiving a lot. And then lastly, when you're on our website, you'll see a lot of other small business services we offer: insurance, marketing, accounting, and etc. These are vendors we find useful and we think can be very beneficial for our members as well. So clicking into any of these can help your business in other ways. So kind of a long intro, I know, but to get back on track with today's topic, what is the new SBA's 7A SOP? So on August 1st, 2023, the SBA published a new set of rules known as their Standard Operating Procedures, or SOP. These new rules benefit our borrowers by, 1, giving lenders more flexibility on underwriting applications. Just note the SOP is still over 410 pages, so a lot of rules and regulations the SBA requires us to follow, but the SBA did specifically relax on how lenders underwrite 7A loans, which leads to our second point: borrowers can now get larger loans with fewer docs. So these next few slides, we'll just go over the changes in our credit box we've made to complement the SBA's new SOP. The first being the most impactful in my opinion, which is larger loans with fewer requirements. So the SBA has updated the smallest loan requirements from 25K to 50K. So now lenders can effectively double the loan sizes, the loans for $50,000 and less. In addition, there's no collateral needed for these loan sizes or an insurance requirement. However, I think the most impactful change gained by increasing this threshold from 25K to 50 is that lenders no longer need to take a business's DSCR into account. So DSCR is debt service coverage ratio, and that's determined by taking a business's annual EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, divided by the annual payments a business will make on all current debt for the year. So with this new SOP update, in essence, virtually all loans under $50,000 aren't required to hit a certain debt to income ratio. The loan amount is strictly based on average revenue, FICO, and years in operation. And since this has gone into effect on August 1st, we've seen literally hundreds of apps double their loan amount from 25K to 50K based on this single change by the SBA. So Grace is going to hop into the next slide. It's a large update regarding affiliates.
Yeah, so while the 50K streamline application might be like the biggest impact to our 7A loan product, another major update to the product is regarding the SBA's new rules on affiliation. So earlier this year, the SBA released an SBA procedural notice, which went into effect May 11th and revised previous procedures for what is considered an affiliate business. Prior to this update, if a guarantor would be any owner holding 20% or more ownership in the applying business, also owned 50% or more of another business, additional documentation was necessary to be included in the business, to include the other business as an affiliate in the loan request. Under the new rules, the process has become much more straightforward, as the following two conditions must be met for businesses to be considered an affiliate on the loan application. The first is that the guarantor must own over 50% of the affiliate business, and the second is that both businesses must be in the same industry. So like, for example, say our applying business is a dentist office, which our guarantor owns 100% of. If our guarantor also owns 100% of business B, which is an auto repair shop, this would not be considered an affiliate per the new SOP update, as the two businesses are not in the same industry. Additionally, let's say that the same guarantor owns 30% of business C, which is a physical therapist office, and would therefore be in the same healthcare industry as our applicant. These businesses would also not be considered affiliates, since the guarantor does not own over 50% of business C. In both scenarios, these are not considered affiliate businesses, since both affiliation criteria are not met and no additional documentation would be required for the loan request. Please note that ownership percentages of spouses and minor children are aggregated when determining ownership in an affiliate. So this is aggregated across the 7A process as a whole, and simply just means that, like, if a husband and wife both maintain ownership in the applying business, we need to combine their ownership percentages in an affiliate business to determine if it is an affiliate. So these updates help to ensure that only true affiliate businesses that are relevant to the credit analysis of the application need to be included on the loan application itself, and just help to avoid unnecessary documentation for unrelated businesses to be required. It also helps provide less ambiguity with what is considered an affiliate business, and we have seen this firsthand help to drastically reduce the document needed for the 7A loan application. So this may seem like a lot of information I just threw you, but like, thinking intuitively, if you own a restaurant and you're applying for a 7A loan, you also own 100% of an engineering firm, these would not be considered affiliates since they're in different industries. But if you do own 100% of another restaurant, this would be considered an affiliate. Overall, like, it just helps to simplify the review process and avoid excessive document collections and review requests for new applications. Okay, so moving on, with the latest changes to the SOP, Newity has enhanced our 7A product, especially regarding refinancing of existing debt. Now businesses are finding themselves eligible for larger loan requests through refinancing their existing debt incurred on unfavorable terms. So previously, refinancing eligibility was predominantly based on EBITDA, which Ian previously went over. What we had noticed was that many businesses needed quick access to funding to provide necessary capital to help their business operate and grow, especially during the pandemic. A lot of the debts that were incurred were very short term with high interest rates and principal payments due. So before our refinancing update, many of these businesses would have only been eligible for the 25K loan request. as the terms of their debt were crippling their monthly cash flow, and the borrower did not meet our debt servicing criteria. With the updates to our credit box, eligibility is now determined through a combination of factors, including FICO scores, SBA scores, EBITDA, and total debt held by the applicant. So the new multidimensional approach allows businesses to demonstrate their creditworthiness from a variety of angles. It now takes into account not just their financial performance, but also their credit history and the overall debt load that they carry. So an example of the actual impact that this update has made is just with a restaurant from California that I just worked with. So the restaurant recently expanded their business to a second location at the end of 2022, and it acquired additional short-term funding to assist with the expansion. Since the expansion is now complete and they have moved to the new location, these debts are only hurting the business with the high interest and principal payments due each week. Previously, before our update, this business would have only been eligible for the $25K or now $50K loan request as their financials worsened due to the loan repayment terms. With the new updates, this borrower was able to receive a $250K 7A loan a few weeks ago, and $90K of that was used to refinance 2 of their short-term debts, and then the remaining $160K was funded directly to the borrower for working capital uses. Through my review and working with the borrower directly, their business was able to save almost $22,000 in their first month through refinancing their debt with the 7A loan request that they previously wouldn't have been able to. So these updates are aimed to offer businesses a fair shot at securing larger loans with better financing terms. By considering a broader set of factors now, it allows businesses to gain access to capital on more accessible and reasonable terms to help assist with business growth and expansion. Overall, the updates to our refinancing criteria have helped businesses save thousands of dollars each week and show the direct impact our product can have on small businesses. So I know we already discussed the streamlined 50K loan application, but I'm going to let Ian go through the streamlined product of ours for 50K, between 50K and 150K.
Right. So loans between 50K and 150K are now easier to approve based on our updated credit box. Our loans were previously calculated based almost entirely on the DSCR calculation, but now we've added a streamlined application for high credit businesses to get approved for a larger loan based on just current outstanding debt, FICO, and SBSS. We still will have that SBSS minimum of 155 per SBA guidelines, as well as a guarantor's FICO scores need to be above 670 to qualify. And if your business credit isn't that high, we still offer that DSCR calculation. This way, we just add an additional route to borrowers to obtain a larger loan. A great example of this was for a gym in New Jersey I just worked with. They have been growing over the last few months and needed working capital to hire additional workers. The gym and its owner have great credit, but when he applied through his bank for a traditional loan, he was denied due to the business's low EBITDA. It was kind of perfect timing because that same day his bank declined him, he received an email from Newity about our 7A offering. So he applied through us, went through the pre-screen, and 2 weeks later, we were able to fund him for that full $150,000 request to help his business grow.
So as the slide states, after a borrower receives their original funding with Newity, they can be eligible for additional funding with us 90 days after the first loan has been funded, assuming financials have improved. So this can have a significant impact in a few different ways. Specifically for borrowers who were funded before the 8-1 update for 25K, they can easily be eligible for an additional 25K now, assuming that their business has generated an average revenue of at least 143K. While they still need to meet the eligibility criteria of the original 25K loan request, we can often streamline these applications efficiently, as the Newity members that you would have originally worked with will already have most, if not all, of the documentation originally provided for the loan request, and now minimal additional documentation would be required. If a business is interested in a larger loan request, they can work directly with the Newity underwriters to determine the maximum additional amount that they would be eligible for. As mentioned in previous slides, along with the update to our credit box, there's now like a multitude of different avenues that our underwriters can review to determine the maximum eligible new loan amount that a borrower would be eligible for based on their financials. So for example, I was working with a women's clothing store in Florida who originally applied for a $150K loan back in January of this year. At the time that they applied, they were only eligible for $25K based on their business debt and credit scores. The borrower was able to utilize the original $25K loan application to help improve their business credit and improve their financials. And then with the credit improvements, along with all of the updates made to our 7A product, the clothing store was able to come back in August of this year and obtain an additional $125K on top of the $25K that they received previously. This is a good resource with all of the updates to our credit box just to see how borrowers can be eligible as their business grows and expands. Okay, moving on. So another update to the SOP made on 8/1 was that the SBA has increased their maximum loan size for 7A small loans from $350K to $500K. At this time, our 7A program is still capped at the $250K. We are working on new partnerships with lenders to increase our SBA offerings, and any new offerings will be introduced to our members through our website as soon as they're live. If you are interested in obtaining funding beyond the $250K loan product, feel free to look at our non-SBA equipment offerings, which can help borrowers gain access to equipment loans up to $5 million. You can also look at our website for more information on the equipment offerings. So to finish off all of the major SOP updates, Ian's going to go through the SBA compliance review.
Right. So the last update in this 8/1 SOP we wanted to touch on is the new SBA compliance review. So this is an additional step the SBA added in the application process where after the bank approves your 7A loan, they'll submit to the SBA for their team to review. So prior to this 8/1 update, after the bank approved a borrower's loan application, that borrower would be sent right to closing and would receive funding shortly after. Now the SBA will take 1 to 3 days to review an application before approving, and then we'll send you to closing. So this process is still very new, and the SBA is making updates to it pretty much weekly. But overall, in the past 2 months, we've seen that this compliance review hasn't affected the majority of applications, and the few that it has affected, Newity is able to work with the SBA directly to clear those codes in about 1 day. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the new SBA SOP updates for 8/1. So just as a quick recap, with the two biggest changes are, one, the requirements for $50,000 and under loans have been greatly relaxed by the SBA, making it much easier for businesses to be approved for this loan amount. And then for loans between $50K and $150K, we've updated our credit box to allow more borrowers to obtain larger 7A working capital loans. So right here, this slide is just a link on how to create and log into your free Newity account. Once you're in, you'll see this pre-screen tile asking you to start now. Click the pre-screen. It takes 3 minutes to complete. It's very basic business info. And after submitting, if eligible, we'll have a team member reach out to you same day with next steps on your application.
So if you are interested, here's some links to apply for a 7A loan and learn more about our product offerings. The service and support link helps provide more information and guides and some webinars to help assist with applying for one of our products. We also have a live chat on our website that can connect you with a member of our member service team and give you instant access to application assistance. So let's see. Yeah, we've gotten a handful of questions sent in from stuff that we hear all the time. So if anyone has time to stay on, we're going to run through a few of these questions that we get all the time. And then I can read the chat, Ian, if you want to answer some of these. So
okay.
The first question I'm seeing a lot is regarding our program minimums, meaning the SBSS and FICO minimums for each of the product offerings. To help explain for anyone who doesn't know, like the SBSS score, that's a score that the SBA gives small businesses ranging from 0 to 300, just helps to pre-screen 7A applications. And the SBA doesn't publish like much information on the SBSS score, but it's like known to be a combination of businesses and owners credit. So going back to the question, do you want to help discuss the SBSS FICO minimums for our products, and then you can also go through some of the terms because I see that as well.
Yeah, so we follow the SBA's SBSS minimum of 155 for these loans, and we've coupled that with a FICO minimum of 650. The SBSS and FICO score are pretty heavily correlated, so 155 is about 650. It falls in that range. And then for years in business, you just have to be in operation for at least 1 year to qualify for a loan under 50K. In regards to our terms, regardless of loan size, up to 250K, it's going to be a 10-year loan with monthly repayments, and the interest rate is variable at Wall Street Prime plus 275, which is currently 11.25%.
Okay. I see another few questions about like new businesses, meaning that they began operating in less than 2 years ago. So would they still be eligible?
Yes. So as long as you at least have 1 year of business operation, you'll be eligible for an SBA 7A loan. So if you've been in business for 1 or 2 years, you're eligible for up to 50K. If you've been in business for 3 years or longer, you could be eligible for up to that full 250,000. We do obviously, you're a newer business, so your SBSS score won't be as great as longer businesses are, but we're going to rely more heavily on your FICO score if you're a 1-year business than we would for a 10-year business.
I see a new question asking, they haven't filed their 2022 taxes yet and asking if they're still eligible.
Yes, if you haven't filed 22 taxes, you'd still be eligible. We would need that extension filing, and I do want to point out that it's October 4th and that extension goes until the 16th of this month. So, if you applied today, you'd still be eligible, but we're kind of nearing that time where everybody should be filing their taxes.
Okay. Another one asking, is there anything I can't use the funding for?
It's actually a great question. Yes, so the SOP is very clear on what can be used for a 7A working capital loan, and these are kind of broken up into 4 buckets. First bucket is rent, utilities, payroll, and then operational expenses. That one's a little bit more broad, so just think of anything that keeps your business going. So inventory, marketing, tax advancements, advertising, etc. And I actually see a question from the chat. It's a good point. They're asking, can I buy equipment with this loan? No. So the SOP is pretty clear that you can't use a 7A working capital loan for equipment, but we just did launch our new equipment loan offering. So if you go into our pre-screen, go through the pre-screen, it'll ask you, what do you need the funds for? You could enter straight up, I need 50K in equipment, 250K in working capital, and it'll shoot you out 2 separate ways.
Okay, I see a question asking, they have a 7A loan and haven't made payments yet and believe payments is due. Is this going to impact their acceptance? So for this one, we would need you to be in good standing with any 7A loan. And then like going through another question, if you have a previous SBA loan, if it's a 7A loan, like we said previously, we can't do funding within 90 days, even if it's from another lender. So we would need to prove that it is in good standing. And if it's been over 90 days, we'll just add that to our underwriting calculations to determine your eligible loan amount. Okay, the last question, this is a good one. It's asking, how would a government shutdown impact their loan application in this process?
So that's a great question. Some of you probably heard the government was supposed to shut down on 10/1. There was talk that it was going to, and if you asked pretty much anybody on September 30th, we all thought it was going to, but turns out Congress was able to pass a bill for 45 more days to extend current levels of the budget. So shutdown did not occur. So business as usual for us. What actually did help a lot from this false alarm is we were able to work with the SBA and our partner banks under the assumption the government was going to shut down to set up a process to kind of move our applications forward regardless if they shut down or not. So this false alarm kind of did help out in that process where in November, if they do shut down, we'll still be able to move forward with your application.
Okay, with that, I think that's all the time we have questions. We have all the questions we have time for. Before we go, I did want to bring up a new promotion that Newity began offering this month called Harvest Your Business Promotion. So if you haven't received an email already, Newity members should be receiving this in the next few days. And this promotion allows members who have uploaded all the necessary documentation needed for their SBA 7A or ERC application to receive a $500 gift card if they provide the complete set of documents by October 31st, so the end of this month. Before receiving the gift card, the member must also speak with the Newity Cares team. So after the steps have been completed, the member would receive an email with the gift card redemption link. If you have provided a complete set of documents and are eligible, a Newity member will reach out to you to help you set up a call with the Newity Cares team to discuss our other offerings. For any other questions that we may have missed, we're going to post a recording of this, and we'll also release an FAQ addressing all of the other points and any questions we may have missed. But I appreciate everyone joining today, and I hope you all have a nice day.
Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you. Have a good day.